The hum was the first thing to go, that ever-present, almost unnoticeable thrum of modern life. 1 minute, the world was alive with the soft glow of screens and the gentle whir of the refrigerator. The next, it was plunged into a profound, almost suffocating silence and darkness. It was just after dinner on a Tuesday in January. Outside, a blizzard was raging, painting the world white and burying everything under a thick, frozen blanket. Inside, we were warm, comfortable, blissfully unaware of the fragility of our cozy bubble. When the power cut out, my first thought was, oh, it'll be back on in a minute. A transformer probably blew, or a tree fell on a line. It happens. I lit a few candles, their flickering flames casting dancing shadows on the walls, and told my family it was like indoor camping. An adventure. We laughed and told stories, the kids' faces illuminated by the warm, unsteady light. An hour passed, then two. The adventure was starting to lose its charm as the temperature inside began to drop, slowly but surely. The digital thermostat was a blank, dead screen. The house, once our warm sanctuary, was now just a collection of rooms growing colder by the minute. I checked my phone. No service. The cell towers were down too. That's when the first real pang of unease hit me. This wasn't a typical outage. We were cut off, completely. I went to the window and peered out into the swirling snow. There wasn't a single light on in the entire neighborhood. The whole town, maybe even the whole region, was dark. It was a strange and unsettling sight, a modern landscape rendered silent and primitive. The storm howled outside, a wild and untamed force, and for the first time, I felt a deep sense of vulnerability. We were on our own. The first night was a lesson in cold. We huddled together under every blanket we owned, wearing layers of clothing, our breath fogging in the air. Sleep was fitful, punctuated by the rattling of windows and the eerie silence where the furnace's roar should have been. Morning brought no relief. The power was still out, the snow was still falling, and the house was now dangerously cold. Pipes were starting to creak and groan. The water from the tap trickled to stop. Frozen, the reality was sinking in. This wasn't an inconvenience. This was a survival situation. Panic is a useless emotion, but it's a persistent one. It whispers in your ear, telling you all the things that could go wrong. But you have to shut it down. You have to think, what do we have? What do we need? I took inventory. Canned goods in the pantry. Bottled water I'd stored for a just-in-case scenario I never truly believed would happen. A half-full propane tank for the outdoor grill, and a small, wood-burning fireplace we rarely used. It wasn't much, but it was a start. That fireplace became the heart of our home. We gathered around it, its warmth a precious, life-sustaining force. The next few days blurred into a cycle of basic survival tasks. I'd venture out into the biting wind to grill canned soup on the barbecue, the propane tank a lifeline. We melted snow in a large pot on the fireplace grate for water, to drink and to flush toilets. The simple act of getting a warm meal and a drink of water became the day's biggest accomplishment. We rationed our food carefully, not knowing how long this would last. The kids, surprisingly, adapted better than the adults. They invented games to play by firelight and didn't seem to miss their screens. For them, it was still a bit of an adventure, a break from the norm. For me, it was a constant battle against the cold and the creeping dread. Every creak of the house made me wonder if a pipe had burst. Every gust of wind felt like it was trying to claw its way inside. The nights were the hardest. The darkness was absolute, and the silence was broken only by the crackle of the fire and the howl of the wind. In those long, dark hours, you're left alone with your thoughts, and your mind can be your own worst enemy. You realize how dependent you've become on a system you don't even see, a grid of wires and signals that you take for granted every single day. One of the biggest takeaways from this whole ordeal was the importance of community. After 3 days, the storm finally broke. The sun came out, glittering on a world transformed by ice and snow. I carefully made my way to my neighbor's house. They were in a similar situation, but they had a generator that they ran for a few hours each day. They offered us a chance to charge our phones and get a bit of news. Another neighbor had a well with a hand pump, providing a source of fresh water for everyone. People were checking on each other, sharing resources, pooling their knowledge. Strangers became allies. We were all in this together, and that sense of shared struggle was incredibly powerful. It was a reminder that our greatest strength in our technology. It's each other. On the fifth day, a flicker. A single lamp in the living room sputtered to life, then another. The refrigerator hummed, and the furnace roared back into action. The wave of relief that washed over me was indescribable. It was like taking a breath after being held underwater for too long. The world slowly came back online. The noise, the light, the warmth, it all returned, but something had changed. I would never look at a light switch the same way again. I would never take a hot shower or a warm meal for granted. That week in the dark taught me more than I could ever have imagined. It taught me about preparedness, about the simple things we need to survive. It's not about having a doomsday bunker, but about having a practical plan. A supply of water, a non-perishable food stash, alternative heating and cooking sources, and a way to stay informed. But more than that, it taught me about resilience. The resilience of the human spirit to adapt and overcome, and the resilience of a community to come together when it matters most. The grid may have frozen, but we didn't. We survived. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more real-life stories and tips. Stay safe out there.